Kamal+H for the Copenhagen Voice, and we're standing at the big DR building with the, how do you say, LGBT. That's lesbians, gays, bis, and transsexual. Huge human rights conference, and we're going to flip the camera now to Kamal Qureshi. He's an MP, the Danish Parliament, and hi.
Hi. Hey.
Basically, you said on national TV today something about there was some violence against some delegates that are here, and something about a task force.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is?
Well, what we need to do in Denmark is that we have like a number of police precincts, and these police precincts, some of them are quite good at targeting hate crimes as general, and some of them don't know what to do. And what we have good experiences with in Sweden is that they have created a national task force of number of police officers that actually go around and kind of empowers the precincts, tell them how to receive a hate crime victim, how to achieve the information on to find out whether it was a hate crime, and also trying to investigate afterwards. What we have been seeing in Denmark is that it's very rare that you get a registration of hate crime, and that you get an investigation, and that the person is convicted on the law that says it's hate crime. We have a law in Denmark that gives longer imprisonment if it's a hate crime. I mean, if you hit someone and you say you black whatever,
right,
that gives a longer sentence. Or if you say you're a homo and you kick someone, than if you just kick someone.
Do you think that it's lack of training within the police department to implement or to research and find out whether certain crimes are hate crimes, or do you think it's something else about the culture here in Denmark?
I think it's actually basically the culture within the police force. Police force are not the most open-minded forces as such. They are used to doing very much criminal mapping. They are used to looking at something that has been convicted and not looking at what was the reason of a crime committed necessarily. So it actually challenges the way that the police force has to think. And in Denmark, we are not used to doing that in the police force. Within the police force, there are a number of things that are going on in Copenhagen police that have been trained up till Outgames. They have done a lot of good things, and they're probably gathering a lot of good experiences.
So they're open for it, right?
That would be very good for us to implant in the rest of the country, because this is not only a problem within Copenhagen. So it's only Copenhagen police force that are doing this. We need to do that at a national level, and we need to have a task force that will be able to look at the national policies in this and try to help and move forward.
Well, also something very interesting. I couldn't help but wonder, what, in your opinion, is the root cause of such acts of violence in regards to people who are gay or lesbian or?
Well, I was in Riga for a couple of months ago, where there was this Baltic Pride, which is a parade for gay rights, LGBT rights, and there I saw this very, very odd coalition between very religious groups, right-wing groups, Nazi groups, housewives, that kind of went together and paraded against this LGBT parade, and were just against anyone being different. And I think that the reason that this movement is so strong in Riga is that Riga is probably the most white city I've ever seen. What I want to say about that is that if everyone looks alike, if your neighbor is like yourself, and everyone is like yourself, it doesn't give you the challenge or the understanding that people may be different. People may want to live another way. And that's why I've always been working with LGBT rights as a package of diversity, because I think that if I work for LGBT rights, my access to being more loosely dressed gets easier. So I think that we need to have a diverse society, and if you don't have a diverse society, if you have a very homogeneous society, the risk of being intolerant is bigger.
Well, so do you think it's more a question, an issue of being different and a lack of being able to accept the differences that people have, even sexual differences and preferences, or do you actually think the whole idea and concept of being gay and homosexual homosexual relationships actually is something that people are afraid of? They think is a little bit perverse and taboo. Do you think it's something more rooted in a fear that they don't accept? That they feel like a
definitely. I think sexuality and sexual identity is something that's so close to us that if we are challenged on sexuality and or sexual identity, it provokes people and it gives us uncertainty. Let me give you an example. I have some friends and we went out together and we went out with another person who is biologically a woman and loves or is attracted to other women, but this person who calls himself Björn regards himself as being a man. He's a transgender, right? And him wanting to live with another man makes him a gay person. If you look at it, this is just a woman living with another man. But because he has another concept of sexual identity, things turns around. And if you're insecure with your own sexual identity, and if you're insecure with your own sexual preferences, that provokes you, because this is challenging who we are and what we do.
To the point of violence, though. I mean,
yes, I think so. I think that people are provoked by someone that challenges their identity, their way of living, because I always, the time that I get that threat and I'm threatened to someone wants to kill me, has never been when I defend ethnic minorities, because that is something people understand, but when I go out and defend gay people or when I go out and work for pro-life, that is when I provoke people, because that challenges their own thinking. So I think that this is more tricky, more something that's very, very close to you than you would think normally.
And what about education? You were in there for a little bit with a panel and talked about how you're pushing some issues and laws forward. But there was no discussion about education and moving from Børnehave or first class and second class to the children. Can you explain a little bit about some things that are going on here?
I think there's not much going on, and I'm insecure whether this will be able to help. Because if you talk about LGBT rights in a society where there are no parents to the children that are gay, it will become something theoretically. So I think what you need to do is create visibility, as it also was mentioned in the conference, that those parents that have children and who are gay, let them be the role models to show other children that you can have a family that is with two mothers or two fathers, or two mothers and two fathers, and so on. And by that movement, making it more easy or more normal to say. I mean, my own children believe that this is not a problem, because I have friends that they know, that they care of, and they know are normal, are loving persons that are gay.
So you think it comes more from the family and the friends?
I think you have
network,
to be very close, or else it will just become a theoretical discussion, and theoretical discussions will not move people's hearts.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, Pamela Yule for the Copenhagen Voice, and there you have it. Okay, LGBT.
LGBT. It took me a lot of time to learn it. It took me a lot of